So in section 3.6, this is going to be all about, we're still going to continue looking at matrices, but this is now how you multiply matrices. And you can multiply two matrices, we can label them anything you want. Usually we'll start with A and B, but you can multiply them only if the number of columns in A is equal to the number of the columns in B. What does that mean? So let's just look at two simple matrices. So let's say I have a matrix A, and the dimensions of the matrix are as follows. Matrix A has m number of rows and m number of columns, right? So it's an m by r matrix. So for example, this one right here, you always start counting the rows, 1, 2, and how many columns? 1, 2. So this is a 2 by 2. So I would put in matrix A is 2 by 2. You put like that little symbol like multiplication in between there. And matrix B is another matrix such as this one here. And B is R by T. So the same thing, R would be 1, 2, 2 rows, and 1, 2, 2 columns. So this would be a 2 by 2. B would be a 2 by 2. Then if you wanted to multiply A and B, you would get the dimensions of whatever the numbers that you had here for the row and here for the column as well. So first you check, are the inside numbers the same? So in other words, are the columns here and the rows here the same number? So in this case, it's a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So I would have 2 by 2, 2 by 2. So there's a 2 and a 2. They must be the same. So if that's the case, then yes, you can multiply them. And how big is it going to be? It's going to be by the numbers that's outside here and here. So your result would be an m by t matrix for AB. So it has to be the same as what you started with here. So the product of two matrices can be found by multiplying the columns and the rows. So we'll be looking at some examples of how you do that, because if you notice, it does get a little complicated compared to addition. Notice what happens here. What you're going to do is you're going to start with this first element A. You're going to take A times E, so here it is, and then you add that to, look at this. Now here I'm going across like this, like a row, and here I'm going like a column. So A times B plus B times, now I go down G. And you add those two elements together, and that's how you get that first element as an answer. So I know it looks a little complicated, but we're going to go through some examples as we go along. So this is section 3-6. So let's go look at your packet. So in your packet, we see that we have some matrices, and the first thing we have to determine is, can I multiply this? Well, yes, I can, because it's another 2 by 2, a 2 by 2. We already looked at those examples, so we're fine. But let's see if we can find one that's a little different. And it explains that, that situation here again, showing you if you are able to multiply them. So if you'll notice here, the matrices the first one, letter A, is a 3 by 4, and the second one is a 4 by 2. So the inner numbers are 4 and 4. So yes, I can multiply it, and my answer is going to be a 3 by 2. So let's continue looking at different problems, and so that we can take care of that. Now, remember, I also mentioned when you were going to multiply them, this is the rule. This is how you do it. So that is in your notes. So we'll be looking at that in just a bit. And here they give you the example. So you're going to take like the 3 times the negative 2 and put it there. And then add the 2 times the 1. So notice how in one you're kind of going this way, and in the other you're going down this way. So it's kind of like, going like this to one and one the other. Reminds me of Chavo del Ocho or something kind of move, if that means anything to any of you. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. Let's actually go into the questions. So let me scroll down. Okay, so in your study guide, it does show you a couple of matrices. So this is A and B. It's a 2 by 2. Also, so we know we can multiply them. However, let's try to find if this one, could I multiply? Let's see what the dimensions are. So if that's the one in question, let's go ahead and calculate what the dimensions are. This is 1, 2, 3 rows. So this is a 3 by, and how many columns? 1, 2. So that has 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2. Over here, I've got 1, 2 rows. I can erase it, sorry. Let me try to use the eraser. Whoops. Sorry, it's not letting me activate the eraser for some reason. All right, so this was a 3 by 2, and this is 1, 2 rows. So this is a 2 by 1, 2 columns. So you always look at the inner numbers. Are they the same? Yes. So yes, I can multiply this. And so what's my answer going to look like? The answer is going to be a 3 by 2. And if we look at the actual answer they show us, this is 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2. So it pretty much works out. And here they give you the details of how to work that particular problem. Sorry, I'm trying to activate my pen here. All right, so let's go on and continue looking at some other types. So they're asking you find the product if it is possible. Let's look at one that just to test. Okay, so let's look at number 7. Is it possible? Well, let's see what is going on here. So far I have a 1, 2, 3. This is a 3 by 1, 2. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. This one here, if you notice, it's just one row. And then, so it's a 1 by 1, 2, 3 columns. So those are the dimensions for the 2. You check the inner numbers. Whoops. Can I multiply these? Absolutely not. So not possible. So that is something you're going to be looking out for to see if you are able to multiply these matrices as they give them to you. So in the study guide and intervention part, the same thing. They give you some examples, how you're going to work these out. And so sometimes they'll give you different matrices. So don't forget your properties. For example, here you do take matrix A plus B first. So you add them up. So you have that here. When you finish, then you're going to multiply that answer by that. But remember, to multiply, always check that your dimensions match up. And so they're asking you in these exercises, use a scalar. So you're going to multiply some of these depending on what they show you. You're going to be multiplying some of these equations, some of these matrices, and they're going to ask you, is it true? Like once you do that, do you end up with a true statement? So those are the things you're going to be checking. So you actually have to do the calculations and then see, for example, like number 3, does BC, so multiplying matrix B times C, is that equal to matrix C times B? So the same thing, something like this, if you multiply matrix A times B, is that equal to B times A? So let's work one of these out really quick to see. So according to number 2, they're saying multiply A times B first. All right, so let's see if it's possible. I come up here. I know this is a 2 by 2. I know this one's a 2 by 2. And so the inner numbers match. And so my answer is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. So let me go ahead and write that out. I'm expecting 1, 2, 3, 4 different results. So let's start. So remember, when you multiply matrices, you take the first number, and I'm going to try, see if I can erase this, 3 times 6, so that'll be 18. And I'm supposed to add, when I go this way, on the first matrix, so I add 2 times 2, which is 4. Then you're going to repeat the process. So this time, I'm going to do the same thing, but now the first row, second column. So let's do that again. So first row would be 3 times 4, that's 12. And I'm supposed to add 2 times the 1. And so 2 times 1, let me see if I can erase what I drew over there. 2 times 1 is 2. Now you do it again, but this time you jump down to the next row. So it's going to be 5 times 6, which is 30, plus 5 times 2, I'm sorry, negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. So it's actually going to be plus a negative 4. And then I do it again, that same row, but now with the second. So 5 times 4 is 20, and negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So now I simplify this. 18 plus 4, 22 over here. And then 30 plus 4, 34 over here. And then 12 plus 2, 14. And 20 minus 2, 18. So now, I just did A times B, but guess what? Now I need to do B times A. So I'm going to go a little bit faster with that one, since we already went through the process. All right, so now I kind of made a mess over there. Let me see if I can clean this up a little bit. There we go, so I can use these numbers again. Okay, so now let's try matrix B times A. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm just going to rewrite it over here. B is 6, 2, 4, 1. A is 3, 5, 2, negative 2. So to do this, all I need to do is the same process. Multiply this row with this column. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 4 times 5 is 20, so that's 38. And then we do the same thing. Now, I could continue checking, right? But I already see a huge problem. The question is, are they equal to each other? I automatically found an issue with this, right? Because if you notice, this number right here and this number are not the same. So I can kind of already stop. You, of course, can continue, check all the numbers. Just you need to practice being able to do this. But if you notice, these are already not matching up. So multiplying A times B is not the same as if you were to multiply B times A.